Good evening, guys. It's Workin bringing you a quick update on 4 different coins. We're looking at Bitcoin, EOS, Ethereum, and Ripple. Hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. This is just going to be a very quick overview of all of them, guys. Not much has changed with Bitcoin since yesterday. We'll go ahead and start off with Bitcoin. We're looking at Bitcoin to the US dollar, 4-hour chart on Bitfinex, guys. We talked about this wedge that, this wick that broke out of the wedge yesterday, came up, hit exactly where we expected at 6750, broke right back down. Very bearish sign, at least temporary bearish sign. Shows you that it was more than likely not the breakout, obviously, that we were hoping for. Price quickly came back inside this wedge pattern here as if it never broke out, and now we're hovering right on the top of the ascending resistance line. Pardon me. Now, I am expecting more than likely, if we don't get a breakout here very soon as we approach the apex, remember the apex of this wedge within a wedge, if you will, is kind of sitting right in this area. We're approaching it now. If we don't get any kind of a major breakdown, or excuse me, any kind of a major breakout here in the next 24 hours or so, I would expect price very likely to break down. Now, what I'd like to see ideally is price to come down, test this 6540, and then impulse right back up. I think that's a real possibility. That being said, I don't know if it's a probability. We have to respect the trend, the overall trend, as I've told you guys, and the overall trend has been bearish. I mean, if I just zoom out, it's easy to get kind of lost in the trees and miss the forest, guys. If I zoom out, there's no question this overall trend has been down. So until that trend breaks, all we have is probability. Probability tells me the trend is going to continue. That being said, guys, a trend typically does have to break at some point in time, and when that does happen, the probability will shift. But for now, we're looking at a possible breakdown. If price does end up breaking down, guys, of course, this is going to be the area that I would hope we'd get a bounce at 6540. That breaks down. I do think we're going to quickly come back down and test this about 6450 right here. If you want to play a rather risky trade, I would put a couple buy orders sitting right around 6450, somewhere thereabouts, knowing that 6450 could break very quickly, coming back down to about 6380, 6350, 6380, somewhere thereabout. That's a little more conservative buy area, and if it were me, I would be stacking buy orders between 6350 and 6280. This zone right here coincides nicely with the bottom of this ascending support line of the larger wedge, and also this 6280 support has been support for quite some time, guys, and has proven to be a very relevant support for quite some time. So not saying price is going to get down there, but if it does, this would be the area that would be the most comfortable stacking my buy orders in. Of course, to the upside, guys, if price does end up breaking up, we're watching this, still watching 6750. If price does break above decisively, and again by decisively I mean a 4-hour candle that both opens and closes above 6540, not just opens, or excuse me, above 6750, not just opens, not just closes, but both opens and closes. A 4-hour candle that both opens and closes above 6540. If that or 6750. Sorry, guys, it's a little late. I need to get some sleep. That would be a good indication that price has finally broken through that zone decisively and is preparing to come up and test 6950. And we all know, as you've watched my videos, 6590 is the area that has to get taken out to break that larger bearish trend. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap Bitcoin there, looking over at EOS. EOS, very similar chart to Bitcoin. We've got two wedges, a wedge within a wedge, if you will. Pardon me. This larger wedge, we are approaching the apex. Again, very, very similar to Bitcoin, approaching the apex of that smaller wedge within a wedge. And as we get close to this area, we expect that breakout right in here. Now, this breakout, I don't expect it to be as significant as if it were to break out in this area. This is where I would be looking for a very significant move. Up here, guys, not quite so much. Just doesn't have some the energy, I don't think. I think the breakout, obviously, with this larger wedge, if we can get price to continue to consolidate and get squeezed tighter and tighter and tighter to the point to where it reaches this wedge, I think the breakout would be much more impulsive. For now, I do think there's a good chance price might break down here. If it does end up breaking down, I'm going to be watching this zone here at about at about $5.55. Possibly this has acted as a support and a resistance in the past, guys. Wouldn't be surprised to see price break down, possibly fake people out, come right back up, test this top of this this zone again, and then either break out or come right back down again to crash through that zone and test the bottom of this wedge, this ascending support line here, which is the bottom of the wedge factor there. So those are the kind of things that you want to keep an eye on. And this is why it's better to just let the trade come to you. Don't try to force a trade. If price does end up breaking down, if we do come down to $5.26, this in my opinion would be a great area to start stacking in some buy orders. If it ever makes it down there, guys, that'd be a perfect area to stack in buy orders. Not saying it's going to, just saying that would be the area I'd be looking with a very tight stop, knowing that if it does break down below that zone, we could very quickly come down to 496, or even 473 to 467 down in this zone down here. We could find, if price breaks down out of this wedge, we could find ourselves down at at least 473, 467 very, very quickly. To the upside, if price does break up, and I think that's the less likely scenario, but if price does end up breaking up, I'm going to be watching 6.14, this zone right up in here. We can see that was a very relevant supply zone, as I told you guys in the past. Price came up, wick, dropped down, came up, wick, dropped down. So this is telling you there's a lot of sell orders that are still sitting in here, and more than likely they still are. And so price is going to have to break up past that zone. And if it does, we've got another supply zone up here at about 6.45 and 6.70, somewhere thereabouts. Now that's a relevant supply zone there as well, however not as much. If we look at volume profile, we can see from about 583 all the way up until about almost $7, $6.96. There's just not a lot of trading going on, not a lot of buying and selling going on. So price could very conceivably break up and not hit a lot of resistance and jump right up into this supply zone. And this is a very strong supply zone up here between $7 and $7.30. This is the zone that I do believe price is either going to have a hard bounce or at least just start consolidating in. That'd be the most bullish scenario if price could just start consolidating in that zone. If we do get a hard bounce, that wouldn't surprise me a bit. And a possible retest down a possible bounce to retest a prior resistance, or support area, and then a bounce right back up. That's a possibility, or a retest and it just ends up collapsing, a complete reversal. We'll only know if and when it does end up testing that zone. But for now, guys, we're nowhere near there yet. For now, all eyes are on the apex of these two wedges to see which way price is going to break. Again, my bias is this apex here, this smaller wedge. I think it's going to break down, possibly test 6.556. 6.555, somewhere thereabouts. And if that does happen, guys, I do think that there's a good chance that price would come down, hit the top, and then just crash right back down, hitting the bottom of this wedge again before we finally end up coming into this apex. Once we hit the apex, dude, I expect that larger move. And we've already discussed which directions and the price points on either direction, so we're prepared for everything at this point, guys. And again, I know it's frustrating. You want to hear price is going to go up, price is definitely going to go down, guys. Right now, it's I'm seeing a lot of other than just doing some scalp trading, I'm not doing any long-term trading at all at this point. I'm not taking any long positions until we decide which way until the market makers decide, I should say, which way price is going to go. The volume is so low right now, they could literally take it in any direction they want, guys, and it's just kind of a hands-off for me. I'm a more conservative trader. My goal is to not lose money and to live to fight another day. I don't have to get every opportunity. I just don't want to lose. So anyway, guys, that's just my strategy. Looking at Ethereum. Ethereum is getting squeezed inside this wedge here, a very smaller wedge, but a very relevant one at that. We got pardon me, price consolidating between about 226, 220 right in this zone right here. It is approaching an apex here, guys. So I would expect possibly in the next 24 hours or so at most to get a little reaction here. Now, I'm not expecting a huge reaction, but possibly price breaking up. If it does break up, hitting 251 up here, be a very relevant zone. Been a resistance in the past. Wouldn't be surprised to see price break up. Possible reversal at 251 to come back down and retest this 226. To the downside, I wouldn't be surprised to see price break down. Possibly find support at 210, somewhere thereabouts, guys. But more than likely, if it does end up breaking down, guys, I wouldn't be surprised. This would be an area for a possible reversal. However, if it does break down impulsively and breaks right through that zone, I think we're coming down into this zone here between 196 and 178. Very, very relevant zone. If I come over here and I look at the daily chart, we can see that's a very relevant demand zone. Price came down, wicked a nice reversal candle back here, pushed right back up, came back down. Clearly, this was established a very strong supply zone, guys. Price hit this, impulsed right back up. So this tells me there's a lot of buy orders that are waiting in here. This is a decent demand zone, and if price does end up coming down here, I'll be stacking orders probably between about 185 and 180. somewhere thereabouts, with a very tight stop sitting at about 175, somewhere thereabouts, if it gets that low. It may never get that low, and if it doesn't, and I don't get a chance to, and if it just explodes, it's going to be fine with me. Did I miss out a little opportunity? Sure, but hindsight's always 20/20. I didn't lose any money, and that is the goal, guys, not to lose money. And you wait for the setup. If the setup never comes, that's okay, because eventually it will. But if you end up putting in money here and then price just ends up collapsing, well, then you're out money, and there's just again, it's a game of risk. It's a zero-sum game, and personally, guys, I'm a more conservative trader, and I don't want to lose money. That's my number one goal. So the people that don't mind taking the risk, and you have to obviously take some risk in this game, guys, but you want to be smart with it, and you want to live to fight another day. All right, looking at XRP. XRP came in here. Pardon me. Let me go back out to the 4 hour. You can see this a little bit better. XRP, as predicted, last time I spoke about it, I believe I told you guys, we were just consolidating sideways after breaking out of this little wedge here. It's consolidating right on top of this support, about 51 cents. And it was just a very, very relevant support, acted very strong quite a few times, got tested quite a few times. And then I told you guys, if this did end up breaking down, it'd be a very quick drop to at least 47 cents, between 47 and 44 cents. That's a very relevant support area. Sure enough, price broke down, hit exactly at right about 47 cents, guys, and it's just sitting on top of that zone right now. If I zoom in here and look at, let me pull up the 4 hour, stand by, guys. Okay, come in here and I look at my 4 hour MACD. If I look at price, I compare that to the 4 hour MACD, what do I have? Point to point. Price created a lower low. Point to point, the MACD histogram created a higher low. This was clearly a downtrend, and that downtrend, that means that's hidden bullish divergence, suggesting that price should break up. We saw a little bit of a breakup right here, but that's certainly why we're seeing some support right here, and it hasn't just broken right down. We're not seeing the same thing on the RSI, on the 4 hour RSI. That being said, we don't have to all the time. It's just I would like to see it on the 4 hour RSI. It's not there, but it certainly is there on the histogram, very obviously. And it'll be very interesting to see how price reacts at this point. If price does end up breaking back up, testing this zone back here, I'd expect it to break right back down, possibly coming back into this zone just to consolidate sideways. That'd be the most likely scenario. If, however, price can manage to break above this zone again, break above 51, that would have to be some kind of news, some kind of positive news to bring some new buyers in here. If it does break above that zone, guys, I do think there's a very good chance that price could just break up, impulse up, and possibly come up and test. Stand by. Possibly come up and test this zone right here. You can see this was a support, or excuse me, this was a resistance, support, and back down, resistance, and then broke down. So this area is going to be an extremely relevant zone. If it does break up above 51, I do believe it'll be a very quick rise up to about 54 or 55 cents, somewhere thereabouts. If price, for some reason, I don't think this is going to happen, but if price does end up breaking down into this zone, consolidating into this zone, getting lower and lower and lower, at that point we have to consider price possibly breaking down much, much lower. If it does, I think it'll be a very quick free fall all the way down to about at least 35 cents. There's just not a lot of support between 44 and 35 cents. So that's something you're going to want to be very aware of. If you are taking a buy in here, this isn't a bad idea. There's a very good possibility we could see a nice bounce somewhere between 47 and 44 cents, but I'd have that stop loss very tight, sitting at about 43 cents, just in case price does, I could wick down, come right back up. So you want to have, again, you want to have that price sit just below there so you don't run or get caught in a stop loss. However, if price does break below that 43 cents, you want to make sure you're out, because I do believe it'll very quickly drop to at least 35 cents, at least. And we'll have to wait and see where it heads from there. So anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it there. I know that wasn't the deep analysis that I usually give, guys, but I just wanted to give you a quick overview on the market before I head off to bed here. I'm a little exhausted, so I'm going to go I'm gonna go crash, guys. So anyway, guys, hope you have a wonderful weekend. Hope you are having a wonderful weekend. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, I would appreciate an upvote, re-steam, or a like if you had enjoyed this content. Until next time, guys, please trade safe. Take care of yourselves. This is Workin, signing out.